it's unbelievably hubristic and prideful to say, follow the science, but not follow the science all the way through. Simply stop at the point at which science gives you the answer that you're interested in. So instead of following masks all the way through and trying to figure out, do they work or not, they decided a couple months into this, masks have to work. The science says masks work, and then they never follow the science past that. So it's not actually following the science; it's going with the science to the point you want to science till science supports the conclusion you want, and then not investigating any farther. And that's what has happened through all of this.
And they didn't. It's funny. The scientists didn't follow the science. If they did, they would have said, okay, this is a disease that it impacts the elderly. The elderly should isolate, be careful. And then the rest of us, what's the best way to stay healthy? Well, get outside in the sun,
exercise, go to the gym,
eat well. They closed the gyms.
Remember when they were arresting gym owners?
I remember there was a story.
Do you remember the circle?
Yes, and I remember there was a story I did about a grandmother being arrested because she busted the locks on a park in her neighborhood so her kids could go and play at the beginning of COVID.
That's funny.
So she's great. So they actually didn't follow the science, because we know that science tells us that things like exercising and eating well and being out in the sun is good for our health.
Yeah, exercises as well as spending time with other people, interacting, being active, and instead what we did. I mean, look at what Australia did, and they're sort of a confederacy, a federal system like we are, and so there were some places that were more locked down than others. But I mean, they had places where people were just confined to their homes. I mean, imagine being single, and maybe you were a little bit depressed going into this, and being stuck by yourself for 2 years. I mean, no wonder suicide rates skyrocketed.
Yes, exactly.
No wonder alcohol deaths skyrocketed. No wonder opioid abuse skyrocketed.
Yeah, now you see like gun violence skyrocketing in cities, crime skyrocketing. I think a lot of it is all repercussions from COVID. Now, one thing that I keep thinking about, and I'm wondering what you think. Yeah. Does it alarm you at all that Bill Gates is not generally a guy that we like. Does it alarm you that Bill Gates all of a sudden is coming around and admitting what we've known for like 2 years now?
Does it alarm me?
Yeah, does it alarm you? Do you think is it just, or is it just
so.
he can't hide it anymore? And it's not just him. It's a lot of folks on the left.
I gotcha.
Now.
I think he is an ideologue who doesn't think of himself as an ideologue. So I don't think he has a problem saying, "Oh, well, we didn't understand this." Okay. I don't know if he understands exactly how much of an impact he could have had to push back on this, to save who knows how many jobs, to save who knows how many lives by fighting this ridiculous war that was waged on a virus that ultimately can't be beaten.
Right.
I want to shift gears here to talk about a celebrity who's involved with it. But I want to wrap the Sweden segment. I want to lift a couple more things out of the Daily Mail piece. Again, this is Emily Craig. Cambridge University epidemiologist Dr. Raghib Ali told Mail Online, "It's certainly true that the approach taken by Sweden, keeping schools open, relying mainly on voluntary changes in behavior rather than government mandates, has led to outcomes much better than were predicted and most of Western Europe. This is similar to what we've seen in the UK, with voluntary changes in behavior in England leading to similar outcomes to those in other home nations, which had more government mandates." Professor Carl Hennigan, an expert in evidence-based medicine at Oxford, told Mail Online, Sweden's approach not to interrupt transmission entirely, but to reduce the pandemic's health impact, has largely been vindicated by recent mortality results. Countries with hard lockdowns, such as Peru, ended up with worse outcomes. Sweden's light touch approach relied on the public to act responsibly without legal restrictions. This approach was out of step with Europe, but it avoided lockdowns, and the hit to their economy turned out to be milder. This almost done. The strategy in the future should be to trust the public in the face of escalating risks to their health to make the right choices. Folks, That is what conservatives said from day one on this. And not every conservative, but writ large, essentially the non-chattering class, non-elite conservatives.
Yeah,
That's what they said from day one.
And the
now,
left
2
said-
years later, thousands of lives, tons of suicides, tons of drug overdoses, tons of cases of cirrhosis, billions and trillions of dollars lost. Turns out we were right.
Yeah, all because the left, the government, the elite ruling class told Americans, you're too stupid.
Yeah,
to
they
make
had
your
to
own
have
choices.
control.
Yep.
They had to have control.
Yep. They said Americans are too stupid.